You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hey there, AP.
Well, hey, Murph.
Here we are at Parrot Talk Studios.
That's right. We are recording together
Yes.
in the studio, and it's a great day.
And we are both wearing the same shirt that we didn't bring, we received.
Yeah, we got a wonderful gift from Orange City.
Yes, thank you, Orange City. And there's even more. Should we read it?
Yes, first of all, it was 2 Orange City RAGBRAI t-shirts inside of a wooden clog.
Yeah, which we put on the shelf here at Parrot Talk Studios. So next time we do video, we're going to have to pan over to it because it's amazing. I'm looking at it right now. It's amazing.
It's the real deal. You could wear it as a clog if it were not way too big for both of us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And they left us a little note, and I thought I might read it.
Please do. Yes.
Okay. Murph and AP, thank you for all the work you put into sharing Orange City's story as the RAGBRAI 2025 start town. From social media to PR and podcasts, your efforts made a huge impact, highlighting our community and helping make the ride such a success. We are grateful for the time, energy, and creativity you brought to the table. It was a real privilege to see Orange City showcased as part of the Iowa tradition, and your role in that was key. From the Orange City executive team, take off from Tulip Town 2025.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Orange City.
Yes, anything they said about us, we could echo back to them because they were incredible with their social media, their promotions, and more above and beyond everything else, they're hosting a wonderful kickoff to RAGBRAI.
For sure. And also a shout out, of course I forgot his name, but I was recently on a bike bagger trip with some friends, and we did this big loop around Spirit Lake. So I was in Wahpeton and Milford, but I was at a bar watching the Iowa State game, or I don't remember what the name of it.
You were watching the Iowa State game?
Well, it was just on. It was just on. Okay. But anyway, I had my Murphology jersey on, and there was a guy that said, "Are you actually Murph?" And I said, "Yes." And so he was from Orange City.
Oh, yay.
And he was one of the committee members. So thank you for saying hi to us, or me.
Yeah, not me, but
Yeah.
Hey. Okay.
Okay. Today we have a great episode. This is going to be a fun one. But before we get into it, I just wanted to throw this out there.
All right.
Dream cycling vacation. Where would you go and why?
My dream cycling vacation, well, any vacation that involves cycling is a dream cycling vacation for me.
Very good.
And obviously, if I didn't work for RAGBRAI, it would be RAGBRAI, but here we are. So my dream cycling vacation would be to go to Hawaii and just ride around an island. Just a whole bunch of times, just ride around, or up on the volcanoes, or like just around in the beautiful tropical setting. And I say I ride around a bunch of times because the islands are relatively small.
Yeah.
I feel like I could make it around if that was an opportunity.
Well, you do know that the Ironman Championship happens in Kona.
Yeah.
And that biking route is 115 miles or 112 or whatever it is, but it's not flat.
Yeah.
Hawaii is not flat.
I would ride it a lot slower than they do.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So what's your dream cycling vacation?
Well, it would be RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
But I get to do that every year. So if I were doing a dream, and the reason I even am asking this question is because currently the Powerball is up to like 1.9 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
I won't ever win because I don't play.
Well, that does limit you.
Okay, but if you play and you win, I'm hoping that you'll maybe give me a cut. And then I'll go on my cycling vacation that's in my dreams to Ireland.
Ooh.
And it would be self-contained and, just on all the kind of off the beaten path. Of course, I would maybe see Dublin and go find my relatives, but to just be out in the wilderness of Ireland.
Ooh, beautiful. Lovely. Yeah. Well, I have some bad news for you. I do not play the Powerball either.
Yeah, darn it. All right.
But I would love to see you out there in Ireland and enjoying the countryside.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted if I go. Actually, you'll all know because I will talk about it.
We'll know.
Nonstop before.
Yeah.
So today's episode is one we've done every year, kind of post RAGBRAI, to speak with Bob Libby. And we both know Bob Libby very well, but he owns Care Ambulance.
Yeah.
And I thought like it would be a good segue would be to state that you and I have both been in serious bike crashes.
Yeah.
For you, or for I also won't speak for you, but for me, I actually got hit by a car by a distracted driver who, as I was laying on the pavement, the first thing he said to me was, "I didn't see you. I was on my phone." Ugh. But do you want to share yours just really quick?
Yes. Mine was not as serious. I veered off of a bike path and broke my hand. It was painful and unfortunate, but I knew my life wasn't in danger. And in fact, I rode several miles afterwards to get back to my car.
Oh, wow.
But I still did get checked out by the EMS, and I'm super appreciative of them because I would have kept riding.
Yeah.
And they were like, you don't get a sprain in the middle of your hand. There's nothing to sprain.
Yeah.
So they set me straight and got me on my way.
Yeah.
And of course, I do appreciate Bob Libby and his team so much because obviously they're there for us as writers, but they do so much for us that we would not even know without this podcast.
Right.
So,
And we both had to rely on the professionals to help us heal. The moment that, the paramedics arrived for me and they're like, "Okay, you've been hit by a car." And so I had the neck collar on.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? I think I'm fine. You guys, I'm fine. So by the time I'm in the hospital and the adrenaline kicks in. And then I had this weird, it looked like an egg coming out of my arm. And I didn't know until later when I took my ball cap off. So I took, my helmet came off. I put on a ball cap, get to the hospital, and then realized that there's a huge goose egg on my head.
Oh.
So it was awesome. Not the injury, but
your treatment.
The treatment was awesome. But that just is a great segue to talk about Care Ambulance team. They're out there on the route while we're riding our bikes. And I saw it happen several times where I would come up on some sort of accident that had just happened. And, you get about a quarter of a mile down the road and here comes the ambulance.
Yep.
So the person who had fallen, their wounds aren't even bleeding yet. And here comes the ambulance to take care of them. And Bob has such a great system in place. He's had many, many years to perfect it. And that's what he's going to tell us is kind of how he's able to respond so quickly and professionally and get things done and get people back on the route.
I love that. And Bob's a cyclist himself, so he knows just how important it is for us to keep riding if we possibly can or be treated so we can, be healthy and happy in the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
But I love any opportunity to toot the horn of Bob Libby and the Care Ambulance team. So let's hear it.
Let's do it. Well, a very warm welcome back to Mr. Bob Libby. Hey, Bob.
Hi.
How
Thanks
are you?
for having me.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you on the podcast. Although it's way more fun when we're, in person, either during RAGBRAI or various meetings. But I always find it, I have a lot of fun talking to you.
Well, the feeling's quite mutual. I don't usually get to rub shoulders with popular people, but man, Just Go Bike is huge and getting big. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I was going to say, we had that super cool van this year on RAGBRAI, but I don't know if the van was sitting next to one of your Care ambulances. I think you would be just as popular.
Oh, I doubt it.
I mean, you guys save lives, and you also fix sunburns and blisters and all the things. Maybe dare I even say chafing?
That's right.
Well, as AP and I talked about in our intro, you are on to talk about your company, which is Care Ambulance, and all the great things that you do for RAGBRAI riders. So, should we get into it?
You betcha. Let's do it.
All right. Well, first off, how did your business come to be? How did Care Ambulance become your baby?
Well, many years ago, I was asked if I could come on board and help the ambulance crew that does RAGBRAI. And I was like, sure, why not? So I did it 1 year. And then the next year they said, you know what? We have a new job. And so we have to sell this ambulance. Would you be interested in buying it? And I was thinking, In my early 20s, I was thinking, why would anybody ever want to buy an ambulance service? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, who wants to do that? I'm not a lifer anyway. And so I hung up the phone, and about 30 minutes later, I called him back. I said, "Sure, I'll do it."
So
So,
you became
and
that person.
that's right. So then the next year, I kind of learned how they did it, and we went out. I've worked under like four different directors, RAGBRAI directors,
Mm.
and they've all been good. It's been interesting to the differences in them, but that's how it became, and we've grown from there to do many other things that we'll discuss later on.
And have you always had multiple ambulances en route, or back in those early days, was it just one you?
No, back in the day, we always had four ambulances, and
Oh, okay.
we've had the privilege of having for a lot of years the same crew, because it's a big family reunion, and so it's so fun for us to be out there as well. And people will go by, and they'll say, "Hey, we're looking for RAGBRAI 4, the ambulance number 4, because we know who's in that truck."
I'm one of those people that looks for the number when I see you guys on the side of the road.
Yeah,
Um,
when we get trucks ready, we put big stickers on them, and people say, "Well, why do you have to do that?" I said, "Because people watch for that number."
right, right. Although if I was seriously injured, I would happily accept any of you because you're all professionals and you guys know what you're doing.
Thank you. I would agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So give us like a high level of how it works. You know, you just said there's four ambulances, but there are thousands of us riders stretched out over, between 50 and 100 miles. So just give us an idea of how it all works.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting. We have four ambulances that are out there. We have two quick response vehicles, which are like a motor. They're a motorcycle that we use as a chase vehicle. They respond to calls quicker than we can.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, RAGBRAI riders don't want to be transported, and so they're able to take care of them right away and get there quicker and call off an ambulance. So we're not going up and down the road as much, which is way better. And then we also have a first aid trailer. And the first aid trailer, we always stage in the meeting town. So everybody always knows that that's the place where the first aid trailer's at.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us because what it does is it gives us that continuity of care. So before the meeting town, what we can do is we can treat somebody and say, "I tell you what, you keep riding. If you can make it to the first aid trailer, have them look at you again. If they're good to go, then you're good to go." But we can follow up things such as we had a lady one time who got bit in her tent by a spider,
Ew.
and we were able to mark the bite, and then to have the first aid trailer also look at that bite and know if it grew or didn't grow. And actually, in this case, it did grow, and that patient ended up being transported.
Mm.
So what we do is we have the four ambulances that are with a nurse, paramedic, and a physician in every truck. So we're staffed very heavy. We have a very good experience. And what we do is we divide the route out in four.
Okay.
So we split it in fours. But typically, as the day progresses, we end up getting smaller and smaller areas.
Mm-hmm.
So what we try to do is we try to watch where that bubble is. There's an imaginary bubble where all the action is happening all the time, and we try to stay in that bubble. And we have one in front, one in back, and then two of them are in this bubble where all the action's happening. And that's how we get to calls quick. People say, "Man, I just fell down. How did you get there?" And I say, "It's because we opened the door." But that's kind of how it works. We just kind of kind of do it. And it helps that we've been doing it a lot of years, and you kind of get a perspective as to what you're feeling.
Right. So, this is fiction, but if I see a biker go down, I call 911. How does that call get to you? Because you are not like the county. Like, give us an idea of how that works.
Okay, since we're not a county entity, we are out there to help the excess people. We're bringing, 20 to 40,000 of our family members on this bike ride. And so what happens is that call goes to a call center, and they know that we're out there. They can actually see us. They have a GPS in most of these control centers,
Oh.
and they're able to say, "Hey, look, ambulance 2, you guys are right in that area. Can you please respond to this call?" And so if it's a bad one, if it really requires a lot of hands-on, we might send 2 trucks to that call.
Mm-hmm.
But they're able to dispatch us. And our idea is that we keep local ambulances to respond to their, grandpa and grandma and their town calls,
Sure.
instead of we're going to inundate their system. And so what we're trying to do is help support them.
Okay, that makes sense. And, I know that you can't be super specific because of laws, I guess you'd say. But what are, like, the kind of calls that you typically get throughout the day?
Okay. Well, the calls really vary. And the interesting thing is they vary from year to year. Some years we have different, like the pick of the month or the pick of the week kind of injuries, but most of the ones are obviously abrasions. People fall down and go boom, and we clean them up and put them back on the road. This year we saw quite a few wrist fractures. People go down and try to catch themselves and they break their wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Collarbones is a typical cycling injury. People break their collarbones. But we've had this year a number of rib fractures as well. So they fell down, they landed on something and had some rib fractures. And you always have those head injuries. People wear their helmets. I would say probably 98% of people wear helmets. And it's crazy how many people, even though I do a 911 system as well, we don't see what we see on RAGBRAI, people falling and breaking their helmets as well.
And describe like a typical day. So you guys, are you working 12 plus hours and just responding to calls right off the bat, or hopefully you get to sleep a little bit at some point, Bob?
Well, we hope to as well, but some days it just depends how busy it is. Weather really makes a big impact on how busy we are. If it's windy or really hot or rainy, sometimes people are either grouchier or they ride different and maybe don't pay as much attention. But we are out on the route at 6 a.m. in the morning, and we go until 6 p.m. Now that can vary. Sometimes if we have like a busy time, we could stay a little later than that. And so we're basically out there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the troopers are out there about the same time as well.
Okay. I feel like in addition to your expertise, being a paramedic, you probably have a psychology background, because exactly what you just said, if everyone's had a really long day the day before, they might be a little grouchy or tired, and that's probably when you see an uptick in accidents.
It is so true. It's really kind of interesting to watch.
I don't know what you can tell us, but can you give us like some crazy calls that you've had to respond to that you can legally talk about?
Sure. I don't have to really beat around the bush very much. I know there's HIPAA rules, but since there's no names,
Yeah.
so I can tell you that we had a gentleman. I can tell you three quick stories.
Okay.
I had a gentleman stop by a truck once and say, "Hey, I don't feel very well. I feel like I just can't catch my breath." But he was an avid cyclist, and he's like, you're not taking me in. And so we took a look at him, and we said, "Really, you should go in." And he said no. So he kept riding, and then down the road, he stopped another ambulance, and the same story. I can't catch my breath. I'm fatigued. And he again decided he didn't want to go. And so the third truck, the same story. He stopped him and he just couldn't catch his breath. And we found that he had a collapsed lung.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and so we did end up transporting him. The physicians help a lot with that. They were able to do that. We had another guy who was having an active heart attack. We got called because he didn't feel well, and he was having an active heart attack. And you could see it on the cardiac rhythms, on the monitors that we have. But this guy would not go because he had a bike that he had built out of plywood. And it's a beautiful bicycle, all wood. The whole thing is wood except for the rims. But he just would not leave his bike alone. And
Oh
so
no.
we were able to transport him and the bicycle to the hospital. So luckily we're super thankful the bike did not need any medical attention, and so that was great. This year we also had a cardiac arrest that we were. Everybody was in the right place at the right time, and we were able to perform CPR, and we're able to thank the Lord that we were able to bring him back.
Yeah.
And so we're super thankful for that.
And I would guess we for sure need to give a shout out to the Air Force crew because they are instrumental at hurting all of us cyclists when you are at a call. I mean, I'm assuming that you see it as well.
Oh, they're amazing. You know, if you have a pet crew, team that you really love, and I would say it's the Air Force. We work very closely with them. If there's a call, they'll have like 6 guys out there blocking the road, and they'll move everybody over. And when it's time to go, they stop everybody. They take charge of what's happening on the scene. It's just so good. And if you ask them, can you help me? Like chew on barbed wire or tear sheets and boil water, they're on it. I mean, they're ready to go.
Right. So this is my favorite part when I talk to you. Can you give us any stats? Like if you went through a certain amount of Band-Aids or sunscreen or whatever.
Yeah, we went. Here, I'll start with sunscreen. You mentioned that we went through 1.5 gallons of sunscreen.
Wow,
that's a lot of sunscreen. We don't use that at home or in
several years,
10 years probably. The girls love to worship the sun, but this year, every year is different, obviously. In 2025, we transported 41 patients. Out of the 41 patients, we did each ambulance, all the ambulances together combined, treated and released about 120 patients.
Oh, wow.
So those are people who did not require transport, but we were able to bandage them up, fix them up, and get them there. The first aid trailer it's a crazy busy place. I wouldn't want to ever work there, but we have the best 2 people who sit there, a nurse and a critical care paramedic. He's a flight medic and she's an ER nurse, and they love that. And that's their baby. You don't go in their baby without asking them to go but they saw 1,014 patients. Wow. Right there. So we transported, one of the transports was out of there. Somebody comes in, they're not breathing right or not doing something right. Interesting enough, they see so many of the same patients over the over the week that one day one guy didn't show up, and they started searching for him, and we ended up finding out that he ended up being transported. So,
Oh, wow.
um, those are some of the stats we had this year.
And what would you say? I'm guessing, again, every year is different based on weather, but what are the most common ailments that riders need help with?
Most typically, if you're looking at the first aid trailer, everybody needs the saddle sore medicine, ibuprofen, Tylenol. We do a lot of dressing changes, or I fell down as I was coming into town. I fell off my bike, and so we're cleaning up a ton of wounds, putting triple antibiotic cream on them, putting ACE bandages, vet wrap, that kind of stuff. As far as the ambulances are concerned, that it really varies from year to year. This year it was rib fractures, clavicle fractures, and some head injuries. Those were kind of the most. And then obviously every year everybody's asking who's died on RAGBRAI, but we usually typically have one person. If you were to die anywhere in this world, I would choose to die on RAGBRAI because almost everybody out there knows CPR, and you get, it's the best success I've ever seen in my career for survival.
And not to mention, if you're going to die on RAGBRAI, you're probably doing what you love.
Absolutely.
Not that you want to
Most of
die,
them-
but, you know.
Yeah, they die with a smile.
Yeah. That's a good segue into, I know that you are all professionals and you know how to, treat people really quickly and efficiently. But what's it like when you're most likely you're on gravel because you're on the side of a road. It's hot. There are looky-loos everywhere. Like, what is that experience like versus your normal life as a paramedic?
It's a lot different. I was thinking about this question earlier. I would like to put it somewhat like learning a new language. So when you learn a new language, you kind of have to get proficient at it. It's the same way on RAGBRAI. You can't. It's hard to take a typical street medic and say, "I want you to come out here and work RAGBRAI," because they're like, they're going to get anxious because bikes are all around. And so, to answer your question, it's different, and we learn how to deal with people, and we really solve a lot of problems. So sometimes it's not necessarily medical. Sometimes it's, can you help us find where the water spouts are at to fill our water, or my tire is going flat. How can where's the nearest bike repair shop? So we're able to pull up that kind of stuff. But a lot of times it is that, I just had triple bypass surgery in my heart. Can you check my blood pressure? Or I'm a diabetic. Would you care if we checked a blood sugar on you? Or it could be my knees are killing me. A lot of the physicians that we have on board were physical therapists or trainers. And so they know how to bend you in crazy manners and make you feel better overall. So it's a lot different, but it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, you get to see, like you said, it's a family. You get to see, like, I know it makes me smile when I see you guys cruising by without lights and sirens. When it's lights and sirens, then I'm like, oh gosh, good luck, Bob.
We will be right back.
At First Form, they're more than just supplements. They're built for performance, driven by purpose, and proud to fuel the RAGBRAI journey.
First Form helps real people earn real long-term results on the bike and beyond.
From clean energy to high-protein snacks that actually fuel you, they're here to keep you moving, recovering, and riding strong.
Come find the First Form team out on the route. Let's crush RAGBRAI together.
Now, back to the show.
The other thing I think is interesting, based on the number of patients you actually had to transfer, your goal is the same as the rider's goal, which is to stay on your bike and keep riding.
That is,
Yeah, so
that
you
is very, very true.
patch them up, and hopefully they can get back on their bike and keep going.
You bet. We have lots of people who that's what they want to do. They do not want to ride in an ambulance. They want to finish the ride. And when we end up having to transport them, I mean, you see some sad, sad faces.
Well, yeah.
I can think of a couple instances where we've picked up. We had a cyclist fall down and break a clavicle, and he was all skinned up, and he was a medical person, so he knew exactly what the treatment was for it, and so he did not want us to transport him at all. And in fact, he looked so banged up and beat up, the trooper actually stopped him and had us come back and talk to him. And he said, "No, I know what the treatment is. I know what's going to happen. I'm just going to ride in the rest of the way, and then I'll go." That's how dedicated these riders are.
Wow, that is crazy. So you know what I think is even more crazy is how you can calmly drive an ambulance through the crowd of cyclists. Like it's I don't know. There's no way I would have the patience, and I would be so anxious if I was in a big, huge vehicle with these bikers everywhere. So what's that like driving? Because typically you're driving the opposite way of all of us.
That's true. I'm going to go back to that where it's like a language you learn. And once you learn it, then it's really good. And it's really hard because we do drive on the wrong side of the road almost 95% of the week. Then the following week, people really look at you weird when you're driving on the wrong side of the road. And so we got to get back in the right-hand side of the road. But it does require a little bit of training and a lot of watching. We don't typically go fast. Our typical speed's about 25 miles an hour, unless there's an emergency run. But even on an emergency run, we don't even get close to the speed limit. We get a lot of cyclists that are telling us to slow down, and we just want to yell at them like, "Hey, we're only going 12, so maybe you should pick up your speed." But it's like a language. It's part of what you learn, but I will also say that RAGBRAI cyclists learn it as well.
Yeah.
And they know that we're out there, and they're very good. And if you have to go through town and you have an emergency, people are amazing. They will open up and they'll clear a way so that we can get through.
It's one of my pet peeves when I hear an ambulance coming and I see either a group of cyclists or one particular person that is either pedaling on the center line or in the lane that they shouldn't be in. Like, I'm assuming you see it as well.
I do, and that's one of the tips I would like to leave for the next years is the ride right. I would love to see a lot more ride right, and maybe encourage people to do that. We do see a lot of crashes happen on that center line because people aren't really paying attention.
Right. And, that center line can become a tiny crack and then a bigger crack and then a huge crack because, the rest of the year, vehicles aren't really affected by that crack. Cyclists, yes.
Yeah, and that's why I always say don't do crack.
Don't do crack, don't ride on the crack, nothing to do with the crack. Don't show your crack, all of it, right?
Every single bit of that.
Well, what other tips do you have to offer either seasoned riders or new?
Well, one of the things that, like I said, riding right is really helpful. The other thing is we all have this new technology out here nowadays that we can put these little devices in our ears and we can hear our music and talk on the phone while we're riding bikes, but we tend to forget our surroundings. And so they make a really cool, and I'm definitely not a salesperson, but they make these shock waves, which are really nice so you can hear your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
The new AirPods, you can hear that. We did have a couple instances where we were actually going on a call and there was a guy in his own world riding on our lane right in the middle. So we couldn't get around him. We couldn't do anything, actually twice. And we literally had our sirens on.
Wow.
And we're very careful about hitting sirens a lot because we don't want to startle anybody.
Right.
But we were doing our best to do that. And this guy would not get over. And other cyclists were seeing what we were doing.
Probably
And
screaming
one guy
at
came.
him.
Oh, they were screaming at him. And one guy went all the way, ran past us on his bike in front of him and tapped him on the shoulder. And it scared him to death.
Wow.
And he's like, get over. And so I just would encourage people to have some way that you can at least hear or see your surroundings if you're doing that. We did have another instance where a guy was totally in his own world with some AirPods in, and all of a sudden saw that we were back there, and he quickly jumped to the right, causing a crash. It was very nerve-wracking for everybody in the ambulance because we had to actually swerve off in towards the ditch to get away from them crashing.
Oh, wow.
So that's probably my biggest thing. Enjoy the ride. It's such a wonderful place to be. The people that you will meet there will be friends. I mean, I've been doing this. I actually just found my initial contracts from when I started. I think it's 28 years.
Really?
28 years that I've been doing RAGBRAI, and there's some of the same people I still see, and I might only see them once a year, but it's exactly where I left off. We want everybody, our goal is the same goal as theirs. We want everybody to get across there in a safe manner, and we'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. If we have to build a peg leg, we'll do that.
So if I'm hearing you right, will you be back again next year to help us all?
Oh, absolutely. We'll be there. We'll be making it a great year.
Oh, awesome. Well,
we actually started packing our bags.
You're already ready to go for next year?
We're ready to go.
Do your ambulances go out on calls other than RAGBRAI? Like, do you do other events?
We do. Yeah, we have obviously a service here as well. We do large scale events such as the Iowa Speedway, which is the NASCAR track, Indy races in NASCAR. We also do a large scale event standbys. Last weekend we were at the Field of Dreams for
the concert thing.
For a big concert, two days of concerts, and so that was fun. But we do other standbys for other places around here, motorcycle, bicycle races, and stuff like that. But we do interfacility transports as well as backup 911.
Awesome. Okay, last question. God forbid that they exist, but if there are unregistered riders out on the RAGBRAI route, do you still help them?
Absolutely. A patient is a patient, whether you're registered or non-registered. The big difference is if you're not registered, your cycling equipment stays alongside the road, and it'll be their responsibility to get that cycle taken somewhere. And so that's one of the perks of being a registered rider. We're going to be sure it gets picked up and taken to the hospital. We'll have somebody pick them up at the hospital and get them back. There's a little more care for you. As far as the medical part of it, we're going to treat you exactly the same. We're going to be sure you're taken care of.
Right.
We want everybody to get there safe.
Right. Well, Bob, this has been awesome as expected, and it's just so cool to hear your perspective of what RAGBRAI is like, versus all of the riders who probably see you every day on the road.
Well, thank you, both of you, for what you do. I think it's a great opportunity to share cycling in the world's largest organized bike ride in the world. I mean, it's a awesome place to be.
Yes, I agree. And a huge shout out to your entire team. the motorcycles that are out there, all the paramedics, medics, physicians, nurses, all of them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are great.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike!
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.